Welcome back, everybody. Thank you guys for tuning in. I hope you're having good luck with your gardening and all of your projects. Without further ado, let's get to today's project. Now that I can breathe a little better, I think my brain's functioning at like 35% versus 10 yesterday. Those head colds. I don't get sick very often. It's super rare. I don't remember last time I had a head cold, but I'm sure it's happened before. But I think it was about one day laying down on the couch and then the rest of it just walking around and working on projects. So it wasn't too bad. All right, let's see what we got in here. We got our new battery charging station. It's got infinite power, so it just plugs back into itself and it never needs power. And of course that's phony baloney. There's no such thing. Well, let's check out our inverter. We got the air conditioner going in here. All right, now it says 50%. Now that's still not 100% correct because we do have communication. But this BMS needs to do, I think, a couple full cycles before we know exactly how much power we're dealing with in here. So we got this monstrosity wired up. This thing has a lot of wires connected to it. I think in the kit it comes with a funny shaped bus bar that goes across all three of these, and then it has one flat piece that comes out. But I built my own. So I built my own connectors. We have a single plug that goes to 3, and those 3 go to the battery or the power input here, and then we've got battery output on top, and that is going to the battery bank, and then we've got our negative out, battery negative, and then our power positive is down there. You can't see it, but it's right here. That's our power negative, power positive, battery positive, and then same thing here. I did a 3-in-1 to a big huge connector on there, so I had some of this thin gauge. I say thin gauge, but this is actually pretty heavy duty. Let's see if we can pull up a number. Heavy duty welding cable. Well, I know that, but what's the size? I don't see a number on it that's easily accessible. Oh, I know. I think there's a piece of it over here in my battery connector cable stash. And I think there's another piece of this outside somewhere too that needs to be put away. It's something I had made for somebody else for an experiment, but we didn't go along with the experiment. It just says number 2 tough flex. I don't know what that means. It's definitely not 2-aught because that would be really thick. So whatever it is, it adds up to about 4-aught, I believe. So it should be plenty of cable connecting to the positives. That's kind of strange how the positive has all these connectors on it, and then the negative is only just one coming out, one in and one out, and this is 3 in, 3 out. We got our CAN bus communication plugged in. I think I had it plugged into the COM in before, and that's not correct. So I read the instructions. It says set this to 1, because this is going to be the main one, so if we add the other ones later, they'll be 2, 3, and then 4, 5, and 6. But I only have 2 more of these on hand right now, so there's the box right there and right there. I bought these a couple years ago. There's like a note written on this one. Dear friend, good day. Thanks for purchasing our BMS product. Have any questions, please contact us. And I did have a question, and they got right back to me because it didn't come with a wiring diagram. And like I mentioned in the last video, the YouTube video I watched, they did not wire their battery up correctly. And then they never talked about it either. So I copied the instructions and got the wires perfectly hooked up. And we now have this new display here. It's kind of cool, easy to navigate. We got up and down. We got cell voltage, temperature, warning, and capacity. There aren't any settings on here, and I'm not computer savvy enough to hook this up to a computer and mess with it. And I looked online in the App Store, and I didn't see an actual Seplos BMS Bluetooth app, so I'm going to go back to the paperwork that I have on my PDF and see if there's perhaps one on the website that you have to download. But man, that is a crazy wiring setup for this guy. Maybe on the next one we'll try something different and make it look a little cleaner, but this is what we have so far. And you can't really kink these wires, so they have to be, you know, nice flowing curves on them. And if I were to make this shorter to come across here, it would have had to have been bent really hard, and we don't want to put any stress on the circuit board. So all the wires have to be nice and sweeping. I mean, they're pretty stiff the way they are. They're not going to bend and move around, definitely, especially these ones. These do not move much at all. But I'd orientate those so that when they were screwed into the bus bar on there, there's no pressure on the actual circuit board so I don't break it. So this thing is attached and I didn't have to force anything. I was very careful with that. So there's our pack voltage, 53.57, current 1.75 amps, state of charge is 50%, but that doesn't matter now. We won't know until after a couple of days of this thing fully charging, which usually about afternoon time the clouds start rolling in, and they throw a monkey wrench in my charging, and it's hard to get this to charge the batteries up more than 50%. I mean, we're getting a pretty good 4,900 watts going in. We have 2 air conditioners running, so we're at 2,719 watts. Eventually we're going to get mini splits. We may not get a mini split for in here because that's a $600 investment just for the unit itself, and I don't think it's necessary because we have this small air conditioner. Now maybe one day if we get more than 30 views on videos, maybe somebody will sponsor us and hook us up with a mini split. But until then, I don't know if we're going to be buying any. So, trying to keep all of our electronic stuff organized over here. Constantly getting into things and making a mess. Like this pile of cables got to go back up here. I got this battery tester about 2 or 3 years ago, and I never used it. And then recently I've been trying to use it, and it doesn't work. So the buttons on it don't do anything. When you turn it on, they don't change any settings. And then when you plug it into a computer, it doesn't recognize that there's anything plugged into it. So I got a bad unit, and I think it only had a 90-day warranty, so they won't send me another one. It was pretty expensive too. And then this is my other battery charger. This thing is very weak. It doesn't work very good for charging these 280 amp hour batteries. I think I left one plugged in for an entire week and it didn't even charge it at all, so that may be a hunk of junk too. So this is what I normally use for balancing the batteries. So if I get a really bad imbalance, I can just unplug everything on it, take all the bus bars off, and then connect all the positives with these red wires, and then connect all the negatives with these brown ones. And then I have some down here for this battery as well. So once we got things running the way they're supposed to, fingers crossed, we'll be able to keep this shut and not come in here again. So there we are. That's what I've been working on all morning, making those wires. And I'll show you. I got a little area set up out here where I cut all the wires and all that kind of fun stuff. So here's my dirty workstation, and this is what I use to make the clamps, the wire connectors like this. So I use this device right here. It makes a good mechanical connection. So you just put the wire in between that little hammer unit right there, and I put that on my vise right here, and then I beat the holy heck out of it with this hammer. And if I were to take one of these connections and cut it down the middle, it would just look like a solid piece of copper. You wouldn't be able to tell that there's single wires in there. And then the heat shrink I use has glue on the inside of it, so when you heat it up with torch or the heat gun, the glue softens up and it seals both ends of this so that moisture and oxygen don't go inside and start to corrode the copper wiring, so we can have a long-term weather resistant connection on that. And here's some of my homemade tools. I made this out of 2 broken wrenches. This is for a belt tensioner on my F250 Super Duty. And then I had another tool up here that I had to build to take the axles off of the Subaru Outback. It's in here in this pile of junk somewhere. I need to clean all this stuff up. It's a big mess. Oh, there it is. I made this out of junk too. It's just some scraps. But you get underneath there, and this will fit in between the CV axle and transmission, or differential, I mean. And then you just hammer it, and it slowly pops out the unruly axle. I guess that's it for today. Time for me to take it easy, drink a bunch of water, and watch some more YouTube videos. Maybe I can figure out how to get this thing programmed. I know Mr. Christensen and had left a comment in the last video with a lot of information, so maybe I'll reach out to him. He knows a lot more about computer stuff than I do. I have a hard time just writing G-code for a 3D printer or the CNC plasma cutter, let alone writing computer code for any of this stuff. I am not good with computer stuff. So, alright, that's it for today. Thank you guys for tuning in. If you have any questions or comments, pop those down below. Give us a thumbs up. Hit that subscribe button if you're not already subscribed. And keep building and try to be good to each other. Some of us aren't here for very long, and a little bit of kindness will go a long way. So God bless you all, and peace. 2 videos in a week? What?